and welcome back to the Constitution Line by Line. I'm Paul Fabrizio.
And I'm Don Frazier, and we're talking presidential politics now.
Yeah, this is fun stuff.
Because this is Article 2.
Yes, it is. Article 2, Section 1. And are you ready? Clause 4.
Clause 4.
And this is controversial. The qualifications for president.
Wow.
And you go, what could be controversial about the qualifications for president?
Oh, we find a way.
Yes. This is the United States. If we're going to make it difficult,
we'll find out how to do it.
Yeah. So here we go. No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of president. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained the age of 35 years and been 14 years a resident within the United States.
Isn't that controversial? I mean, contradictory?
Okay,
go back to the first part.
No person except a natural-born citizen.
Natural-born citizen.
Yes.
And then the last part says
14 years a resident within the United States.
So if they're natural-born and they move, they have to have moved back to the United States.
And been here for 14 years.
Okay, so that's not actually contradictory.
No, but let's bring that up real quickly. You know, it's not a big deal, the 14 years, but it has been an issue a couple of times. Herbert Hoover and Dwight D. Eisenhower spent substantial times before their presidency outside the United States.
Overseas. And Douglas MacArthur, when he was contemplating running, he'd spent a big chunk of his life outside the United States.
25 years or something like that. So you have candidates who the question is, you know, do they have the 14 years? And it turns out they do, just because it was their first 14 years.
Yeah. But think about it like a diplomat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's say that they were a diplomat's kid and grew up going to the American school in Switzerland or whatever else, and then came back to the U.S. for a couple of years before joining the State Department, and then was on diplomatic assignment overseas. They would have a hard time hitting this no matter how natural-born they were.
It is possible. It is very, very possible. So, but it's in there, and you know, you think about it, how likely would it be for someone like that nowadays to ever achieve the political support necessary?
Everything's stacked against him, but back in the context of the day.
Right.
I mean, back then, presidents didn't even campaign on their own behalf.
Right.
I mean, you
had
had
front porch strategy.
Yeah, so you had all sorts of people that were advocating for you, and you were above the fray.
Right.
You were like, well, I'm so flattered to be thought of in such glowing terms.
Right.
But
yeah, today you basically devote 2 years of your life just to running for president.
And your knuckles hurt at the end of the fight.
Yes,
because you're throwing a lot of punches.
You sure are.
Back in the old days, you weren't throwing your own punches. You had people
doing it for you.
Yes. All right, so what about...
well, let's do first the age, 35 years.
Okay.
So there's been a natural progression to be in the House 25 years, to be in the Senate 30 years, to be president 35 years. So there's a sense that this office requires more maturity than other offices. It requires more experience. And that's what the framers wanted to convey to people. In other words, this is a serious office, and we want someone who's been around a bit.
And there's only one of you.
Yeah.
So
and you know, today 35 years seems young. But to the framers of the Constitution,
that was middle-aged.
That was middle-aged. I mean, you were in your peak there, and so it's just a whole different sense of it. You know, today there's 23 Democrats running for the presidency. One of them is 37 years of age, and
is that the guy from Indianapolis?
Yeah, South Bend, Indiana, the mayor, Pete Buttigieg, and if he were to be elected, would be the youngest by several years.
Because Kennedy was the youngest when he was elected.
Right. Kennedy was 41.
40. Yeah, just 41, yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt was the youngest to become president, and he was 40 or 41.
Okay.
But Teddy Roosevelt became president because of his assassination.
Because of an assassin's bullet.
Yeah, of McKinley. So still, you think about it and you go, wow, that's pretty young.
That is pretty young.
35 is pretty young. And
When I was 35, I didn't think so. 35, I was going to be able to conquer the world.
yeah. How's that going?
I didn't quite get it conquered like I hoped.
Yeah. But there's other things. Today there's questions about this. I was just reading this morning that there's some people who believe that we should drop the age to 30 and allow some of the new members of Congress who are young to have an opportunity to run for the presidency.
Well, they do when they turn 35.
Yeah, well, you're popular at a certain point in your life. So you go when the iron's hot.
Yeah,
so,
whatever.
Yeah, so anyway.
I put the
that's
big...
what some people are saying.
What? What is that? Whatever, loser. Yeah. I'm just... Don't mess with it. You don't know the hand job for that? All right, so what about the natural-born American
citizen?
Because that came up in the not-so-recent past.
Yes,
there
it
was
did.
a movement called the birther movement.
Regarding Barack Obama.
Correct. Whose father was Kenyan.
Right. Whose mother was?
Kansan.
Right. And
he was born in Hawaii.
That's right. And so the question was he actually born in Hawaii? And he pulled out his birth certificate, demonstrated he was. There is no evidence that he wasn't born in Hawaii. But there was clearly a movement, and one of the people behind it, Donald Trump, used it to achieve political fame. He already had celebrity fame.
Sure.
But now he moved into the era of politics and
was feeding a narrative that people wanted to hear because they didn't like Obama.
Right. And he ended up getting elected president. And that was part of his political baptism. So,
his anointment.
Anointment.
By that particular slice of the electorate.
Yeah. Now, what in the world does natural born citizen mean?
What if you were born by cesarean section?
As opposed to
That's right. Naturally.
What goes on in his mind?
What if you're, in vitro? Is that natural?
Good question. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to get more ridiculous.
Let's just cut right to the chase. The term natural born citizen has never been defined by the Supreme Court.
Really?
So,
what did the framers think it meant?
They thought it meant people born in the United States.
Okay.
And the problem immediately comes, what do you mean born in the United States? Are you talking about the territory?
Yeah, what if you're born in Kansas Territory?
Well, exactly.
Yeah, as opposed to one of the states.
Okay,
American Samoa.
Well, nobody made a big deal about this. John McCain, Republican presidential nominee back in 2008, he was born in Panama.
Yeah, Canal Zone.
Yeah, on a military base, U.S. military base. So is he a natural-born citizen? And it was not an issue at that time because everybody was focused on President Obama and where he was born.
You bet.
And in actuality, there's this question, was John McCain?
Well,
and see, the answer is a generally accepted, hey, that's an American military base, therefore, lo and behold, you are an American citizen.
Yeah.
Automatically. But really? See, it's never been defined. We just accept it.
What about people like Ted Cruz? Wasn't he born in Canada?
Ted Cruz was born in Canada. He was born in Toronto. As a senator, ran for president in 2016 on the Republican nomination. But his mother was an American citizen.
But he's not naturally born as an American.
He just dismissed all concerns. He actually had less of a claim than Barack Obama.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump went after Barack Obama and not Ted Cruz.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, let me just add to this. My sister had a child born when she was living in Hong Kong. They received a letter from the State Department. And the State Department basically said, we often have questions from parents of kids who are born overseas if their child is eligible to become an American citizen.
Yeah.
And the answer is, we don't know. Okay, so they received a letter from the State Department saying, "We don't know."
We don't know what you have in your crib.
And it's simple reality. It's never been defined. It has never been defined.
Wow.
And because it's never been defined, we have this debate. We believe, and most people accept, that if your parents are American citizens, if even one of your parents is an American citizen, you're an American citizen. If you're born in the territory of the United States, wherever that territory might be,
Yeah, Guam.
you're
American
an American
Samoa.
citizen.
Yeah.
You're an American citizen. And but we don't know for sure because it's never been defined by the Supreme Court.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because some nations follow the bloodline.
Yes.
Mom's a citizen, you're a citizen. Dad's a citizen, you're a citizen. Some countries, like the United States, kind of go on, what spot of ground you're born on.
Right, geography.
Yeah, and that's how come you have pregnancy tourism in the United States.
Yeah.
So you can have your child born in the U.S.
Yeah, there's examples of people who fly here from other countries or come here from other countries. When they're pregnant, they stay here, have the baby. Their child is automatically a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
So.
But we can't sort that out when it comes to the presidency.
No. And so it's just a question hanging over people. Nobody, again, made a big deal of it. Mitt Romney was the Republican nominee in 2012.
Yeah.
Not an issue with Mitt Romney, but his dad competed for the Republican nomination in 1964.
Correct.
His dad was born in Mexico. He was a Mormon missionary.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody accepted, his parents are American. He's an American.
Yeah, they're not only Americans, they're American Mormons.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, from part of the religion that sprang up in the U.S.
Yeah.
So very American.
Yeah.
But born in Mexico to missionary parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, when you look at it historically, the whole controversy about Barack Obama was just ridiculous because there's examples of other people, contemporaries and people before him, who, lo and behold, were in much more difficult situations. Barack Obama, simply by virtue of his mother being an American citizen,
should have handled that.
Is an American citizen.
Maybe
That's
there was
all
something
that
else
needs to be discussed.
Yeah, it must have been something else afoot there. So,
but anyway, that's
a
the
different
situation.
conversation.
Yeah. Welcome to the world of presidential politics, and what it points to is a larger issue that if you want to win in politics, what are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go? What are you willing to attack?
Yeah. You're going to pull on any string that's hanging there, probably.
Right. There was one president, and I'm trying to remember which one. Maybe you remember. He was born in northern New York, and there was always stories that he was actually born across the border in Canada. One of those 1870, 80, 90 guys.
I'm thinking of,
Is it?
Well, I mean, Grover Cleveland would probably, he was actually in Buffalo, but he might have been on the other side of the Niagara River.
Yeah, there was always stories about him that, in fact, he was not a natural-born citizen. So, and by the way, there have been very gifted politicians here in the United States who were born in other countries, clearly citizens of other countries, and then they came here and they did great here in the United States, and people said you should run for president, and the Constitution simply prohibits it.
And they say you can't.
Yeah.
Well, and why is that? Because when this thing was written, you didn't want some guy that was a French agent all of a sudden becoming president of the United States.
Right. So. And one final point on this.
Yeah.
It not only applies, because we're just thinking about elections, it also applies to people in the line of succession to be president.
Yeah.
So you go back when Bill Clinton was president, his Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, was born in Europe.
Yeah.
And so she...
Diplomat example.
So she was not allowed to be in the line of succession. It would skip over her if disaster occurred and we had to go down into the cabinet for presidents.
And thought about the line of succession. All right, so that's our line.
Seems
like a simple one, but it turned out to be a little more complicated than one might think.
We're talking the presidency.
Like so many things in this journey through the Constitution. All right, that's our line. We'll be back with the next line next time.